Honorable Men Discord. Former Hall of Famer, Detroit Pistons point guard, Isiah Thomas wants LeBron James to put a shirt on. Let's talk about it. So what do we have here? What do we have here? Is it hate? Is it jealousy? Anything's possible these days. I mean, Isiah Thomas, he has his chips. He has his championships. So it's not about jealousy for another athlete that has championships. I don't know what it is, because to be honest with you, when I saw this clip, Isiah Thomas was banging on the table and he was so passionate about his displeasure for LeBron shooting around shirtless. I was kind of confused. I was like, is there something that the rest of us don't know about? Did LeBron say something to his lady, if he has a lady? I don't know what's going on with Isiah Thomas, but he was extremely passionate. But take a look at this for yourself if you haven't seen this. Let's get into it.
Second part of our doubleheader tonight. LeBron James going to play the game like this. Shirts and skins is what they're doing tonight.
I just totally 100% object to this. And if I was the GM or coach,
Me too.
I would never let one of my players walk out on the floor looking like this. I mean, we are a professional NBA league. We ain't summer league. We ain't, you know, at the YMCA.
Listen, I think coaches got to go back to suits.
Absolutely.
I just mean.
Absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
I just think
College and pro.
I just think the professionalism in our NBA league has diminished so much. And I look, I like LeBron. I'm a fan of his, so forth and so on. But to walk out on the floor before a game with no shirt on and shoot, I mean, come on, man. Where we at? What we doing? Where we at? Now, if you want to, Adam Silver, if you want to find somebody, find that. Put a fine on that.
First and foremost, why did he put so much emphasis on the fine? That was a little bit strange. I don't know if he was being comical or he's very strange, right? If you agree that was strange when Isiah Thomas put extra emphasis on the F, I'll see you in the comments. Again, the way he banged on the table, you would think, you know, he said, he tried to clean it up and said, you know, I have nothing against him. I like him as a player, blah, blah, blah. But the way he slammed his hands down on the table was like, what's going on over here? If I was one of them on behind that table, I would have been looking at him like, what's going on right now? Right? I'm pretty sure they probably inside, internally, they were confused why his energy was like that towards LeBron. But of course they were on camera, so they just played it cool. But I found that to be very strange. First, see, I spoke about this with a colleague of mine, and again, I'll see anyone in the comments that find this topic interesting. If LeBron is shooting around hours before game time without his shirt on, I don't see a problem with it, because they're showing that image, but it's not in full context. Like, are there anybody in the arena? Are there people in the arena, I should say, right? Because if there's nobody in the arena and he's out there with, you know, maybe some of the trainers from the coaching staff, I don't see anything wrong with it. Now, if people are starting to show up early and stuff like that, and he's still shirtless, I could see Isiah's argument in regard to that. But here's another thing also. If I almost said David Stern. Rest in peace, David Stern, the first commissioner of the NBA. If Adam Silver doesn't have an issue with it, why is Isiah Thomas getting all worked up over it? That's my opinion on it. Why is Isiah so invested in this to the point where he's slamming his hand down on the table as if it's a personal attack on him? You would think he's the commissioner of the NBA, right? But let's get into this.
Spoken by the Hall of Famer and the greatest player in Pistons history, Isiah Thomas. Second half has begun between the Bucks and the Pistons.
So that was it for what Isiah Thomas had to say. on LeBron. And for any of you that follow the NBA, LeBron has done this before, right? So LeBron was injured, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, maybe last month. I want to say last month, but a couple of weeks ago, right? And when he was due to return from his injury, they showed him warming up, doing drills, like layup drills, shirtless. And this video shows the cheerleaders were on the floor. I don't think this is being done whilst fans are entering the arena. I don't think so. But now the argument that some could say is he's shirtless in front of the cheerleaders. Is that an issue? I don't know. Let's talk about it in the comments. Do you guys think that's an issue that he's shirtless in front of the cheerleaders? I spoke again to my colleague about this. I was like, "What's your thoughts on this?" And he said, if he's by himself shooting around, I don't see a problem with it. But he saw a problem with it with LeBron in this video I'm about to show you, doing like layup drills in front of the cheerleaders. Now I think these are cheerleaders with the Lakers, so it's not like he's in a away arena doing drills with his shirts off. I don't know if that makes it better, but at the end of the day, the cheerleaders for the Lakers know who he is. They know he's married. They know his situation, whatever the case. I don't think they look at it as anything. I'm sure if the women that are cheerleaders had an issue with it, they could report it, and then he would have to wear a t-shirt. So again, this is not the first time LeBron has warmed up without a t-shirt on. So I don't understand the motivation behind Isiah Thomas. But I'm just going to play this without the audio because it's playing music and I don't want a copyright strike. But let's look at this video. So you have him passing the cheerleaders, shirtless. But you can see from what I can see is no one's in the arena. So what's the issue? I think it's one of those things where maybe Isiah Thomas he doesn't like the fact that LeBron gets preferential treatment. And for those of you that know the history of, I want to say don't hold me to this, I want to say the 96 Dream Team, Michael Jordan was able to, for whatever reason, speak to upper management and deny Isiah Thomas from playing on that Dream Team solely because Michael Jordan did not like Isiah Thomas. So Isiah Thomas, I believe, has a long-lasting issue with players that have special treatment, special privilege. And like it or not, LeBron running around shirtless is a special privilege because he's LeBron James. He's pretty much, whether you like to say he is or not, he's pretty much somewhat of the face of the league. All right? He's a leading scorer of all time. So he's getting away with a little bit of preferential treatment. But at the end of the day, outside of that, LeBron is a stand-up guy. He conducts himself professionally. It's interesting to hear Isiah Thomas saying, this is the NBA. This is not a summer league. The league needs to be more professional. Outside of LeBron not wearing a t-shirt when he's warming up, I think we could all agree that he's been showing nothing but professionalism. He's managed to do that for this long of a time. He's not doing what Ja Morant's been doing. Ja Morant did it twice, and then now he's making hand gestures like he's shooting a firearm. LeBron's not doing that. And I could go on and on about other players and what they've done throughout their career. LeBron hasn't done that. All right? He hasn't done that. So you want to nitpick about him not wearing a t-shirt? He's going to have to Isiah Thomas is going to just have to join the line of people who have negative things to say about LeBron James. I mean, the guy's not Jesus, all right? He's a human being just like you, Isiah Thomas. So I don't know what the problem is. But speaking on Isiah Thomas, talking about professionalism and stuff like that, I said, well, let me see something, since he's speaking as though he's perfect, right? Because there's one thing about when you call out people, and this is not just about athletes or entertainers. This is just a lesson for human beings. When you start calling out people for certain things, just make sure your affairs are in order, because when you start pointing the finger, just know people can look up situations on you, which I looked up. One of the two things I'm about to point out I knew about, and the other one I didn't. The first thing I'm about to play is something I didn't know about, because this is it's kind of like before my time, where first of all, I never really watched the Detroit Pistons, so I didn't know about this incident. I was a Chicago Bulls fan because of Michael Jordan, but this is something that happened with Isiah Thomas with his coach. Take a look at this, and then I'm going to show you him explaining why he did what he did. This is professionalism.
The choking incident with the coach, Coach Malone. Freddie Malone, you know, one of my closest mentors, everything else, friends with the family, hired him like 2-3 times. He said, whatever you want to do, take it out on me, because I don't want you to get thrown out of this game. And I said, I just like to choke. And he was like, yeah, just get it out, get it out. Okay. The choking incident.
All right, so I'm also going to play that with him explaining it again without the music in the background in case I get a copyright strike, because I'm going to have to delete that little clip. So just take a look at this. This is him just explaining why he choked his coach, right? And his coach's name was Brendan Malone. All right, so he's sharing the story why he choked Brendan Malone. Let's get into it.
You say the choking incident with the coach, Coach Malone. Now, Brendan Malone, you know, one of my closest mentors, everything else, friends with the family, hired him like 2-3 times. He said, whatever you want to do, take it out on me, because I don't want you to get thrown out of this game.
Foul on Cartwright. He hit Isiah in the eye, and Isiah wants a piece of Cartwright, but Lane Beer plays peacemaker. But he's cut. That's why. Yeah, he got him a good one.
Okay, so let me get this straight, Isiah. Your coach tells you whatever you got to do to stay in this game, I'd rather you take it out on me, because I don't want you getting kicked out of the game. So you get into an incident with another player, blood's dripping off your face. You're walking back towards the bench. You see your coach. Your coach looks like he was walking up to you to see if you're okay, because he clearly could see the blood dripping from your face. And out of nowhere, you turn around and you choke your coach. And that's professionalism. LeBron has never done anything like that. Now, LeBron's not perfect. No one on this earth is perfect. But LeBron's never done that. And you're coming after LeBron for not wearing a t-shirt ahead of time of game time, ahead of schedule from game time. He's shooting around with no shirt, and you're calling him out on that. Make this make sense, right? Then on top of that, if you notice when he spoke on it, he's smiling throughout it all. He's smiling throughout the whole story, as though it's something funny about that. That guy, that coach, has a family, and I'm sure they didn't appreciate seeing him being choked by you on live television. That's disrespectful. But what do I know? Now, the final clip, since Isiah Thomas wants to talk about professionalism, was when he was coach, and then he became like a part of management for the New York Knicks. He was accused of sexual harassment. So this is a clip from that.
I want to say it as loud as I possibly can. I am innocent. I'm very innocent, and I did not do the things that she accused me in this courtroom of doing.
A New York jury has called a major foul on Knicks coach and president Isiah Thomas. Tuesday, jurors ruled that Thomas sexually harassed a former female top team executive. They said Anuka Brown Sanders was subjected to unwanted advances and verbal insults. But the panel ruled that Thomas does not have to pay Brown Sanders punitive damages. Instead, jurors determined that Madison Square Garden is also guilty of harassment. They said MSG should pay punitive damages and will decide how much the company has to pay. The judge called the verdict eminently reasonable. The mother of three was fired from her job in 2006. She sued Thomas and MSG for $10 million, claiming Thomas used foul language and called her disparaging names. Then he suddenly declared his love for her. Thomas denied it all.
I'm extremely disappointed that the jury could not see the facts in this case. I will appeal this, and I remain confident in the man that I am, and what I stand for, and the family that I have. Thank you.
And MSG said Brown Sanders couldn't adapt to the job once Thomas became the Knicks president. But the jury didn't see it that way. John Klobuchar, The Associated Press.
All right, so that's all I have for that. Again, you know, Isiah, we're all entitled to our opinions, but that video of you choking your coach and the video showing that you had an incident as part of management with one of your subordinates or colleagues are flaws. They're flaws. You can't talk professionalism and about the image of the athletes when they're on the floor as if you had a stellar, spotless career in the NBA. You can't. Because you're not going to find anything with LeBron putting hands on someone trying to choke them, especially his coach. And he's had several coaches that he didn't necessarily get along with. And granted, you try to write it off as your coach told you, well, hey, instead of taking it out on somebody on the floor, take it out on me. When people say certain things like that, they don't necessarily mean for you to do it. All right. Now, if anyone disagrees with me, please, I'll see you in the comments. But I don't really think the coach meant, hurt me instead of the guy on the floor. Come on. But again, Isiah, I think it's best that some of your opinions you keep it to yourself. And I don't think it was fair that you went as far as saying if Silverman's looking for someone to find, he should put his attention to LeBron, because you're doing more than a little bit at that point. All right, you could, as an older statesman, as a Hall of Famer, speak against it. Like, I think LeBron should be wearing a shirt. But to go as far as on the presentation saying that Silverman should consider finding LeBron, it's like, why? Why not just as an older statesman reach out to LeBron and say, hey brother, I don't think it's a good look that you wear a t-shirt. Or are you afraid that LeBron's just going to ignore you and say, listen, I'm a grown man, right? But to air him out the way you did is to me, I think it's tasteless. But that's my take on this. What's your take? Let me know in the comments. I'll be there. If you have any opinion on this, my opinion is that Isiah Thomas, to a degree, I understand what he's trying to say, but the way he delivered his message, I think was just, he could have chose a different way to deliver his message. I don't agree with the way his delivery came out. But that's my opinion on it. As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.